World Kiteboarding League headed to stunning Akyaka in southwestern Turkey for the third Elite League event of the season, the WKL Amarok Kiteboarding World Cup. 35 of the world's top freestyle kiteboarders were at the Amarok Kiteboarding World Cup, 22 men and 11 women from over a dozen countries. The field was a mix of seasoned former world champion veterans and young up-and-coming talent as the biggest and most prestigious kiteboarding event ever held in Akyaka got underway. If anything defines Akyaka, it's the kiteboarding. Akyaka is one of the premier kiteboarding locations in the world, known for its reliable thermal winds, and it's a place that defines the very spirit and soul of the sport. Thousands flock to take in the spectacle, watching the action in the water unfold.
I'm really looking forward to competing here in Akyaka. I've been here many times before and I always feel like this is my second home here in Turkey. Right now, the level of the girls is really awesome. Everyone's pushing it so hard and it feels awesome to just be competing with everyone and just pushing it that bit more, and yeah, hope we give a really good show to everyone here.
I think we're gonna see a really high level of riding because we got this amazing flat spot here. The wind is like for 11, 13 meter kites, and that's pretty much prime conditions for freestyle.
Akyaka is one of the most beautiful and unspoiled corners of the Mediterranean, with steep forest-covered mountains cut by the pristine Azmak River that weaves and flows into the clear blue waters of the Aegean Sea. It's a natural paradise awaiting explorers and outdoor enthusiasts, with its diverse geography, millennia-old history, impressive marshes with their own unique ecosystems, and of course the long, pristine beaches that stretch along its picturesque coastline. Riders also got a chance to discover the wonders nearby. Akyaka has a uniquely laid-back and relaxed feel, seeming almost a world away from the renowned holiday and resort towns nearby. At night, Akyaka has a lively scene that is ideally suited to the kiteboarding lifestyle, with its music, restaurants, and venues. Brazilian ace Alex Neto got caught up in the rhythm and found himself on stage as the party continued to the small hours. It's the third event of the year, and the warm-up sessions are over. The men's field featured the likes of 2016 champion Carlos Mario, the season's first event winner Liam Whaley, former champions Alex Pastor and Yuri Zun, Stefan Spiesberger of Austria, and new Turkish talent Enge Özan. The informed French riders, talented youngsters, and future stars were all ready to compete.
Yeah, so far I've been here for a couple of days, and yeah, the spot has not let me down. I've been riding for 3 days already. Wind's been really good. It's a really steady thermic wind, and the water is nice and flat as well because we have a little sandbar out. So yeah, all in all, I mean, the level is really high. So this is going to be an event to watch.
So excited about this event. It's been a while. We had another event with like such a beautiful landscape, great wind, flat water. Everything is great. So like, I can't complain. I'm going to do my best in this event, and let's see what's going to happen.
In the women's field, there was 2016 world champion Bruna Kajia, British champ Hannah Whiteley, 3 informed riders Annabelle van Westerop, Rita Arnaus, Paula Novotna, and a host of other talent ready to take to the sea. The Ladies Elite League was comprised of 4 heats in round 1. The winners of those heats would go directly to the final, while the runners-up would proceed to round 2, where they would compete for the remaining 2 spots in the final. Heat 1 of round 1, 7-point slim from Arnaus gave the Spaniard the Heat 1 win and a place in the finals. In Heat 2, Annabelle van Westerop stomped to a convincing win with 6 good scoring tricks to book her place in the finals, while Isabeau Galliard beat Teresa Tabel for a round 2 slot. In Heat 3, it was Czech ace Paula Novotná who dominated completely, sealing the deal with an 8.43 heart attack. In the fourth and final heat, defending world champion and round 1 winner in Le Cut, Bruna Kaji of Brazil topped her excellent session off with an 8.07 slim to move directly into the finals, while Francesca Bagnoli would complete the round 2 lineup for the women. In the men's Elite League ladder, the top 2 of the 4 round 1 heats would go directly into the round 3 semifinals, while the 3rd and 4th placed riders would move on to round 2, where they would get another shot for a semifinal slot. In the 2 semifinal heats, the top 3 riders of each heat would determine the 6-man lineup for the final. In Heat 1, Brazilian Sech Teixeira was in great form as he landed an impressive array of tricks to take the heat win. Former world champion Spaniard Alex Pastor followed him through to round 3, landing a grabbed KGB5 among other high-scoring tricks. In Heat 2, it was another Brazilian Alex Neto who stole the show, landing a 7.27 KGB5, while Yuri Zun of the Netherlands overcame a tough challenge from Nicolas Delmas of France. In Heat 3, Luis Alberto Cruz kicked things off with a 7.93317. But Whaley rose to the challenge, overcoming a recent back injury to produce solid tricks, topped with a massive 9-point backside 317 that gave him the heat win. Gilbert earned the second round 3 slot ahead of Spiessberger and Luis Alberto Cruz. In the 4th and final heat of the men's round 1, defending world champion Carlos Mario Brazil was a man possessed, head and shoulders above the other 4 riders, producing a flurry of extraordinary tricks for a total score of 35 points to win the heat in style. Garat produced an excellent 7.33 Slim 7. That's all it took to send Garat through to the semis, just 0.04 points ahead of Martinez, who got another shot in round 2. UK champion and last year's WKL podium placer Hannah Whiteley explains one of the most strategic aspects of kiteboarding: kite selection.
So as you can see, there's lots of kites lined up behind me, and that's because depending on the wind, we need a different size kite. So the stronger the wind, the smaller size kite. So during the competition, we need to be ready for whatever conditions and whatever wind strength. So we always like to rig a minimum of 2 kites and normally 3 kites per person for the competitions. Another factor you need to take into consideration is your weight. If you're one of the heavier riders, you have to take a bigger kite compared to the lighter riders. During a day here in Akyaka, the wind slowly starts to pick up as the day goes on, and then it drops off in the evening. So we need to have the bigger kites to start off the day, and then in the middle of the day it's the strongest wind. So we go for the smaller kites, and then in the evening back to the big kites. So we have to have all the kites ready and ready to rock.
There were 4 riders from 4 different countries in the ladies' round 2 who would fight it out for the last 2 spots in the ladies' final. Hannah Whiteley of the UK, Isabeau Galliard of the Netherlands, Maureen Castell of France, and Italian rider Francesca Bagnoli. All 4 riders managed to lay down a decent first trick. While Whiteley and Galliard crashed their second tricks, Bagnoli and Castell took the lead with another couple of solid tricks, a 5.53313 for Bagnoli and an S-bend to blind for Castell. But then things fell off the rails for Castell, who suffered 3 crashes in a row, while Galliard also crashed her next 2 tricks, handing the heat advantage to Whiteley and Bagnoli. But could they take advantage? Whiteley produced a trick worthy of a champion under pressure with a fantastic 7.9 back mob that stole the show and assured her of a top 2 spot. In the final tricks, Whiteley and Bagnoli locked horns for the heat win, which went to Bagnoli after Whiteley crashed. With round 2 completed, the ladies' final lineup was decided. In the men's begins round 2. The third and fourth place riders from round 1 would compete in 2 heats for a top 2 result that would take them to the semifinals. In Heat 5, French rider Julien Cricken had a rough start. 2 back-to-back crashes that severely dented his chances to make it into the semis. But it was a very tight contest between David Tony-Juan, Stefan Spiesberger, and Jerome Cleetons, all 3 riders posting 6-pointers for their first 2 tricks. On the third tricks, Tony-Juan's 5.17 Slim 5 was no match for the 7-pointers from Cleetons and Spiesberger, who nudged ahead in the heat. Another 7-pointer for Spiesberger, this time off a Hinterberger Mobe 5, put the Austrian in prime position for a semi-final berth. There was a huge fight for a semi-final spot between Tony-Juan and Cleetons, which came down to the last trick. Tony-Juan needed a good score, but he crashed out, and second place went to Jerome Cleetons by less than 1 point. In Heat 6, there were 2 Dominican riders, Luis Alberto Cruz and Posito Martinez, pitted against Simon Lamousse of Mauritius and Nicolas Delmas of France. Lamousse started off with a crash, but it was 6-pointers all around for Cruz, Martinez, and Delmas. Cruz remained a tower of consistency, scoring decent points in all his tricks despite the low wind conditions, while Delmas and Martinez kept up right through to the final tricks with barely a point separating all 3 riders. But it was a spectacular 8.07 backside 317 that sealed the heat win for Posito Martinez. Delmas needed a big score on his last trick, but he only managed a 3.5 backside 315, and all eyes were on Cruz. Cruz produced another solid trick, a 6.03 kgb, which put him through to the semis alongside his fellow countryman, Posito Martinez. That brings round 2 to a close, and the lineups for the 2 men's semifinal heats is complete. We caught up with Austrian world number 4 Stefan Spiesberger, who tells us about the story behind his early days starting kiteboarding in a small Austrian town to his ascent to the top echelon of the World Kiteboarding League.
I started kiteboarding in Austria in 2006. It's pretty funny because I think Austria is not really the first country you would connect to kiteboarding. We don't have a sea, we only have a few lakes where you can kite sometimes in the summer. And I was windsurfing before, and I saw the older guys kiting in my home spot all the time. And after a few summers of working and saving up some money, I bought my first kite and I jumped on the board. And I think on the third day of kiting, I did my first jump, and then I was pretty much hooked on kiting and didn't really let it go anymore. I'm still today feeling the motivation that I had on the first day, and if there is a week without wind, I'm going crazy and I really need to go on the water, and I think that's really what keeps me going. Once I got on the tour, I had some really good results. The first 2 years I got 4th 2 times on my first full year competing, and then I had like 3 years where I didn't really make it further than the 7th place or something. I think really last year in France, actually, that's where I felt a little bit of a turning point, where I got in the top 4, and yeah, from that moment on I really knew that just working on yourself and just keep believing in what you do really works actually, and that you can't really back down just because it gets harder. And if you start kiting and get to a level where you start competing a little bit, that's the goal of every young kiter, to compete with the world's best. And I was 16, and I think that was pretty late actually to start kiting with the goal to get professional. I went from watching videos of Yuri and Aaron and Alex, all these guys, to just competing with them and basically staying with them in the room. So it's crazy if you come from a small town like I do in Austria, and then suddenly you compete with the top 24 in the world in kiting. That's something for me that I really appreciate and that I really want to make use of as long as I can, and just take up all the moments and just enjoy time with my idols pretty much.
Come home.
The first men's semi-final, Heat 7, was an impressive lineup. Jerome Cleaton's Posito Martinez, French champion Valgarat, the young Arthur Gilbert, who showed what he could do since New Caledonia last year, and the two immaculate Brazilians, Sech Teixeira and Alex Neto. Sech Teixeira's backside 317 earns the Brazilian an 8.1 score. Teixeira is in fine form. His fellow countryman Alex Neto lays down a powerful Chromo 5 for 7.17 as the Brazilians set the pace in the group, taking the lead early. On their second tricks, Cleatons and Martinez hit trouble, while the other riders bring out some serious points. Garat's Slim 7 earns him a 7.2, great technique though not the best landing, and Gilbert produces a 7.43 double heart attack. Alex Neto also goes for a double heart attack, and he nabs another 7-pointer, 7.6. In the lead, Sech Teixeira rises to the challenge and also produces a 7-pointer on a 317. On to the third tricks, Cleatons makes up for a lackluster second trick with a double heart attack that earns him 7.13. Valgarat goes for a KGB 5, but he crashes it, adding pressure on the Frenchman for the remaining tricks. Gilbert, on the other hand, nails it yet again with a backside 315 for 7.13. The pressure is on for Alex Neto to respond to the Gilbert challenge, but the wind does not cooperate. The Brazilian settles for a disappointing backside 313. Jerome Cleatons has more luck as the wind picks up and he roars out yet another 7-pointer, and suddenly Alex Neto finds himself bumped down to fourth behind Gilbert and Cleatons, who are putting it all out there to make their first finals appearance in the WKL. On his fourth trick, Valgarat brings out his 13-meter kite, but the result is a shaky double heart attack. The other riders breathe a sigh of relief as Sech Teixeira also crashes out, which moves Belgian rider Jerome Cleatons into the lead in Heat 7 at the end of 4 tricks. Cleatons holds his nerves on his 5th attempt, bringing out a respectable double Hinterberger Mobe 3 to defend the lead. Teixeira rises to the Cleatons challenge to produce a 6.53 front blind Mobe that puts the Brazilian back in the lead going into the final tricks. Alex Neto needs to score well for that top 3 slot. He goes for a KGB 5, but he crashes out. It all comes down to the final tricks, and every rider still has a shot at a finals berth. Valgarat goes out and puts it all on the line with a KGB 5, but it's just not good enough, and Garat is out of the running. Jerome Cleaton sees his opportunity, he goes for it, but he crashes. He can only hope for the same for the other riders as the Belgian still holds second position. But Gilbert produces a solid 6.6 back Mobe 5 to snatch that second position from Cleatons, bumping the Belgian down to a precarious third. The man in the lead, Sech Teixeira, is relieved, knowing he's guaranteed the finals. The last man out is Alex Neto, and he needs a score of at least 8.37 if he's to beat Gilbert or Cleatons to get a top 3 finish. He goes for it, a huge KGB 5. It's good, but is it good enough? 7.43, Neto is out. Teixeira wins the group. Gilbert and Cleatons join Teixeira in their first finals appearance in the WKL. Neto bounced out in 4th, Garat 5th, Martinez unable to complete the heat due to injury. In the second semi-finals, the group of death, it was a star-studded field of 6 champions, and everyone anticipated a truly memorable heat despite the disappointing wind conditions. Carlos Mario continued his fine form from round 1 with a solid 7-pointer on a front blind Mobe to kick things off. A 6.93 back Mobe 5 from Yuri Zun and a 6.8 front blind Mobe from Liam Whaley were also good opening tricks, but Austrian ace Stefan Spiessberger had trouble with his 3.15 for a mere 4.57, while Alex Pastor also had a rough start with a 5.6 back Mobe. On to the second tricks, and Yuri Zun upped the ante with a 7.77317, with Liam Whaley also coming out with a 7.67 double heart attack. Carlos Mario said game on. He went for a backside 317 and produced an intimidating 8.43 score to let the others know who was in charge. Luis Alberto Cruz went out for a solid 7-pointer on a backside 315, and Spiessberger found his rhythm with a 6.9 on the same trick. Zune responded with a massive 8.37 backside 317, taking the fight to Mario. Alex Pastor was not one to be shoved aside, however, and the former world champion produced a scorcher 8.2 on a backside 317, showing he was also in the running out there. The winds were fading, however, and although Cruz went out for a fourth trick, the heat would be called off. With the fading winds and the lack of time, the men's elite league could not be finished. There'd be joint scoring for the final 12 riders. The women's final was a who's who of world kiteboarding, where all the world's top female kiteboarders were on hand for a spectacular battle for the 2017 Amarok Kiteboarding World Cup title in Akyaka. World champion Bruna Kajia, current world number 2 Annabelle van Westerop, Le 4 podium placer Francesca Bagnoli, Paula Novotna, Hannah Whiteley, Rita Arnaus. It was always going to be a classic. But things got off to a very shaky start, with British champion Hannah Whiteley crashing her first 2 tricks. On their first tricks, all the riders went for a backside 313. All eyes were on Bruna Kajia, who came out and broke the 7-point barrier to take the early lead. On their second attempts, it was a mixed bag of tricks. Annabelle van Westerop produced another solid result, a 6.4 back to blind. But then Bruna Kajia rained on everyone's party with a thumping heart attack for a dominating 8.5 score, letting the field know who's boss. Hannah Whiteley knew the pressure was on for her third trick. Anything less than excellent would pretty much end her chances. With 2 crashes and the best 4 tricks of 6 counting in the scoring, she had no room for error. Whiteley rose to the occasion to produce an incredible 8.03 back mobe. She hangs in there. Bagnoli lays down another decent score on her third trick, a 6.13 slim chance, while Paula Novotna also comes out and lays down a fantastic heart attack for 8.23, placing her right up there behind Kajia after Van Westerop crashes her third trick and Rita Arnaus only scores a 6 on a slim chance. But Bruna Kajia goes out one more time, and it's just as good as her second trick. She scores an 8.13 on her slim, solidifying her lead as she celebrates on the beach. Now every trick is do or die for Hannah Whiteley. Can she repeat her third trick score? Oh no, she crashes it, and her chance for a podium is gone. But Francesca Bagnoli is in it to win it, a tower of consistency so far, earning a 7-pointer on a Hinterberger mobe for her fourth trick, making her a contender for at least a podium finish here. Rita Arnaus up next. Can she bring it under pressure? Look at that, a magnificent heart attack for 8.33. The Spaniard is a contender indeed, and she's in form. Annabelle van Westerop knows she needs to make amends for her crash. She goes out and produces a good slim chance for 6.37, but she's going to need to bring out the big points if she's to compete for a podium spot. The Bruna Kajia storm lets up a little on the fourth trick, the Brazilian having trouble and only producing a 3.67 on a back to blind. That intensifies the competition. Kajia is human after all. Rita Arnaus is up to the occasion, and she continues her fine form with a very good 6.37 back to blind. When you consider the best 4 of 6 tricks, she actually moves into the lead ahead of Kajia with that by a mere 0.01 points. Can Kajia be beaten? But no such luck for Van Westerop. A crash on her 5th attempt suddenly puts her campaign in trouble, leaving her back in 5th. Bruna Kajia knows she needs to get another solid score to reclaim her lead. A 6.87 back to blind does it for her. She's back on top as it all comes down to the final tricks in the women's final. Bagnoli goes for an S-bend to blind, but it's a 5-pointer, and that ends any podium hopes for the Italian. Paula Novotna needs a big point here, but she crashes. Bitter disappointment for the Czech rider. She still has a chance at a podium though, but her fate is now in the hands of others. Rita Arnaus would go for it on her final trick. Could she take the lead and the win with a big score? She lands a slim chance for 6.7. It's good, but not good enough for the win. Bruna Kajia has it. She is guaranteed the championship. All eyes on Annabelle van Westerop. Would she get another podium? A wonderful heart attack from the Dutch rider from Aruba, and she waits for her score as she's dragged toward the beach. 8.37. That shoots her up from 6th to 3rd. What a last gasp effort, and Van Westerop is on the podium.
I feel really cool, like it's my first time in the podium and I'm super happy, like the conditions were just perfect, just right for me. And yeah, I'm stoked to be here.
I'm also really happy. It was not my best heat for sure, but like I said before, if I would have had anyone on the second place above me, I'm so happy for
I
this
learned
girl.
from the best. I learned from the best.
I'm lost for words right now. There's like a lot of emotions. I'm so happy and I wanted to do really well here in Turkey because it's such a special spot. Everyone treated me so well. So I'm so proud to be doing good here and to have win here in Turkey. Thank you, Turkey. You're amazing. You're forever in my heart.
Bruna Kajia is the Amarok Kiteboarding World Cup winner at Akyaka 2017. Rita Arnaus is runner-up, and Annabelle Van Westerop finishes 3rd. Novotna just missing out in 4th. Bagnoli 5th, Whiteley 6th. What an event it's been at this inaugural Amarok Kiteboarding World Cup in Akyaka, Turkey. See you in Egypt for the next round.